As a creator, I'm much more of a jack of all trades. I used to try to be good at 3 skills of design, programming, and marketing. And I thought of that as 3 legs of the stool. And if I stay equally good at each one, then I'll be really balanced as a creator for what I'm trying to do. And I get into all kinds of other things, like within marketing, get into copywriting and page design and how to grow an audience and all of these other skills. So I tried to get good at everything. And early on as a creator, that's exactly what you need, right? There's not other people to help you. And it's so helpful to know how to code or design or whatever else, right? You use this all the time. And as you try to switch to CEO mode, that actually can hurt you. Charlie, our creative director, and I were talking when we realized that I had spent a huge amount of time designing all the slides for my keynote. And I did it partially because I was writing it as I went, and so writing and designing together, and it's part of the creative process. But also because I'm a designer. That's what I do. It's what I know. And I think I did a pretty good job of it. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And my time would have been much better spent on, yes, writing the talk, but then just working with a designer on a daily or weekly basis and saying, like, here's some very rough slides. Why don't you make them look good? And it would have saved me a huge amount of time, and I would have focused on other things. So I think making the shift from being a creator to being a CEO or a leader is just as much about what you don't do as what you actually do. And that's completely different, right? Because you're used to being able to be involved in every little detail or jump in and fix the thing that's not up to your standard. Another thing is that the bar for quality and accountability has to come from the group rather than from you. There's this movie called The Intern with Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. And Anne Hathaway plays this CEO of a tech-focused fashion startup. There's this scene early on where Anne Hathaway comes into the office and she has 10 meetings in 5 minutes, right? She's approving copy for the headline, and she's, there's a design, and they're ordering, for their fall fashion line and whatever else, right? It's moving really quickly. And I remember watching that and going, wow, it would be cool to be that important. And then I got a little bit further and I went, wait, that's a terribly run company. That is a disaster of operations. Because if you watch that scene, if she didn't show up to work that day, or she was late or whatever else, there'd be 15 people or more that couldn't do their work because they were waiting on approval or something else from her. And I think as a creator, we think, oh, when I have a team, then I'll be even more important, and I'll be at the center of things, and I'll be making all these decisions. And the reality is that when you have a team and do it well, it's not that you're detached, but it's that you're making sure that everyone else is unblocked, right? That they're making the creative decisions, that they're empowered to put together the strategy and all of that. And it's just very different from what you'd expect. And so the role is so much more of how do I serve my team, how do I serve my customers, than it is about how does all of this serve me? And on one hand, that sounds I don't know, I guess somewhat humble or whatever else, but it's just it's a well-run company. And it's a complete flip of what you might imagine it is at first.